Hello folks and welcome. Generally this is meant for brand new users, but certainly a benefit to a lot of users that may not know all the bells and whistles of a software manager. So generally what I'm going to talk about today is how software is broken down and what the difference between regular packages and Flatpak software. And I'll also briefly show Synaptic Package Manager also to show the number of packages that are coming from certain locations. And I'll talk about what packages are. And do you require more than one package? That depends on the program or application. That kind of details. And all about software today. I've shown part of these kind of videos before, but I'm going to do a deeper dive today. And this is generally meant for new users. I'll also be using Grommet for highlighting purposes. So the first example of that, I'll highlight that. So I'm filming this on Linux Mint 22.1 Cinnamon. You can certainly use this for all of the Linux Mint desktops that use Software Manager in general, but there are some slight differences, especially with LMDE6. They get a lot of their software from Debian, as an example. But I will explain that as I go. So again, you can use this for all the Linux Mint desktops, all about software. And I will say, welcome folks. I am filming in 1080, but my screen resolution is in 4K mode. Today's date is April 5, 2025. When I talk about Software Manager, possibly if you're watching this in the future, the software may have changed slightly. There is a subscription logo, or should be if you're viewing this on the YouTube of a person with brackets, and I do recommend subscriptions. I don't get paid to make videos, but I do this for the community, but the subscriptions are for you. That way you can start watching the video today, and if you don't have time to finish it, come back tomorrow or whenever you have time to watch the remainder. So again, one more time, for all the folks that are brand new to Linux or Linux Mint, welcome. So on the Cinnamon desktop, you can drag this on your panel if you want. This is Software Manager. All right. If you're using the other desktops, again, you can find the Software Manager in the menus. But I'm not going to start there. I'm going to start with this tool here, Synaptic Package Manager. If you have that installed, I'll briefly touch on it. Sam is our made-up name user for today. And I'm going to do some highlighting for you. So using the Grommet highlighting tool, I'm going to first let you see the number at the bottom of the screen. 80,663 packages are listed. Now let me explain a little bit about that for the new users coming from maybe Microsoft to Linux. Software is listed in packages, sometimes a single, sometimes more than one. In other words, multiple packages to make a piece of software we call an application or programs. All right, so Synaptic Package Manager does not contain Flatpak software, unlike Software Manager, which I'm going to click next. Now I have better detailed videos on this thing here, but I'm just going to show you a couple of things regarding Synaptic. Okay, so I will turn off the highlighting tool so I can go back into standard mode. And it does have legends, so the white boxes means this stuff is not installed, and the green stuff is installed. So if I were to click that and mark it for installation, I don't get a post-it note here that says I need additional stuff, like additional packages. That's all it needs. And then I can just hit apply and I'm off and running. However, not everything is graphical in here either. Some things are run out of terminal. Some things have screenshots. Some things do not. On mark. So I'm going to find something that has more than one package. Maybe this one right here. Yeah, came up with a pop-up box. So that means additional goodies are required. This stuff needs to be installed, in other words. So you would just mark it. And then after you marked it, I'm going to hit cancel. You would hit the apply button. So unlike I said, Software Manager, I can also, for certain pieces of software, I can also check what's installed and where the file locations are. So I have a little game in here called a card game. It's actually this one right here. I can tell where it's installed by locations. Not everything is like this though. This is Synaptic. So Synaptic does not contain Flatpak software, as an FYI. Now let me open up Software Manager. A favorite with especially new users. It's all point and click. Now, if you've never seen any of my videos, I do have lots of tips and tricks on those 500 plus videos that I have. And this is not my first channel. Double click is just one thing I'm doing with my computer mouse. Now, touchpads are really sensitive, but maybe you can double tap. But I can also elongate this thing. So this is Software Manager, and I'm going to turn on the highlighting tool. And we have a search feature at the top. We have a hamburger menu here. We can do some options and settings. And then we have featured, and then you'll see these things kind of slide in and out. And we can also click these little dots. So some more categories for you. Top rated down here, and then subcategories like games. You'll also see things in here. It says FlatHub on it, on a couple of these. What that means is that has Flatpak software, and some of these may contain two different types of software. One coming from possibly not FlatHub. And I'll explain what I mean by that in a second. Let me turn off the highlighter. And then we're going to start at the top here. Show install applications. These are the ones that I've installed. And there's a bar in here. So I have more at the bottom. But generally, if you've never used this tool, and if you're someone that has been using Linux Mint and you're trying to find out, how much Flatpak software do you have installed, you can actually go in here for that also. That's stuff that you installed. Turning on the highlighter. So installed applications is what I clicked on in the hamburger menu here earlier. And all of these should have green check marks on them. But it also has one more thing. It also tells me what kind of software this is on these two things. So the Brave web browser is Flatpak, and so is the GPU screen recorder, which I'm not using today. The rest of the stuff doesn't have that notation. So that's maybe of benefit to some, and maybe not so much for others. Going back to normal mode. So that was installed. Now, if I do refresh, it just does a clocking and refreshes the screen. So I'm going to skip over that and go to software sources. Now this does require me to put in a password, and in this case it's Sam, and it's a made-up name user. And it's going to ask me, or not ask you anything, but anyways, in case your connections are slow, you may want to change the mirrors. Now what's a mirror anyways? Besides the one in your bathroom. All right, so the mirror basically means the location of where you can find software. Now, in this case, it's Xaya, which is Linux Mint 22, and the one from Ubuntu is Noble. These are main packages from Mint and base packages from Ubuntu. If you are watching this video on LMDE6, which is another Cinnamon desktop made by Mint, this will say Debian on it. At any time, if you change these, you can always restore them to default. So the default for Linux Mint 22 is Linux Mint and Ubuntu. If you restore that on Linux LMDE6, that will say Mint and Debian on it. Now I'm going to click the top one. So providing you're connected to the internet, these will start clocking. And then I would, depending on the speed of your network, leave that on for about 10 seconds, maybe 15, and maybe you want to pick the highest speed. These will change. You probably don't want the lowest speed, unless you want real pain. Anyways, joke aside, you can pick these and hit apply. And they're generally closest to you, changing the mirror. You'll get a posted note here to update your cache. You can also do the same with the base packages. Again, this system I'm filming from is Ubuntu, LM22. This could also say Debian on it. And also packages coming from different locations. So the top dog right now is Arizona EDU, and now it just changed to UC Davis. All right, so because I just let it clock. It doesn't mean you need to do this. I'm saying if you want to get maybe faster packages, sometimes this helps and sometimes it doesn't. You can always restore to default. The other thing of note is since this is Software Manager instead of Synaptic, Remember, Software Manager also have FlatHub software, but there's nothing that indicates that here, here, or here. I have a Google browser, that's why I have that one. But that's it for the repositories. There's nothing that tells me Flatpak. Let me take you on a brief tour in a second of that website. So that was software sources. So go into the preference box. This may be a benefit to some, but not all. I will highlight some things for you. So the general search option default is the first one, which is basically the search package summary, slower search. You can even turn this one on also if you like. This is just an option. Okay. Now, the thing of importance may be Flatpak software. So let me actually go to this website for a second. I'm going to get out of the highlighting mode and click that. Let me get rid of that stuff on the screen. There, sorry. So flathub.org, nonprofit, is where you can look at this information from FlatHub for even other distributions also. You may recognize that logo. FlatHub support is built into Linux Mint 18.3 or newer. We're currently using 22. LMDE6 is also way newer than that. But more importantly, Linux Mint uses software from Linux Mint and Ubuntu. And then if you're using LMDE6, it's Linux Mint and Debian. And Ubuntu also uses Debian packages. There's a lot of relationships that we have here, like Red Hat to Fedora, for instance. But these are distributions, not desktops. All right, and some of them do require maybe setup, but Linux Mint does not. This is coming from flathub.org. There's a secure channel that they use to download software. Okay, so that's what I meant by that. So turning the highlighter back on, let me talk about some important things. Show unverified Flatpak not recommended is off by default. Now later on I will show you one piece of software that is unverified by turning that on. It's actually a game. I have it and you can actually play it in 4K modes. I haven't had the pleasure of playing games lately due to my family health issues. But more importantly, I would read that message if you're kind of new to Mint to understand that. Okay. The other thing is applications or apps have multiple formats in Software Manager. The default is list all types. If I were to, let me turn off the tool to go to standard mode. If I click this, I can also list only system packages, only, or only list Flatpak. But this lists all. That's default. FYI. All right, so this is called Mint install. Another name for that is Software Manager. And to this current date is at April 5, 2025. This is version 8.3.7. Things change. So do interfaces. Software never stands still. So we are looking for something. Maybe you saw something flash across your screen. Maybe you're doing a search or a category. Let's do a search. I'm going to pick on GIMP. Now, depending on the theme you're using, different icons sometimes pops up. And if you're using goofy themes, sometimes you get goofy icons. Take a look at the previous video that I have on my YouTube site and you'll get an idea what I'm referring to. Highlighting time. So, system package. There's an arrow here. If you see stuff like launch and remove, that indicates the software is installed. And when you're looking at the sizes, it will not display the disk part of it. But I will show you another thing that does say how big it is and how much space it consumes also. Because there's another piece of software underneath here. Let me turn off some of the highlighting. So GIMP is the common name for this piece of application and I use it heavily. It's called GNU Image Manipulation Program. What do I use it for? Well, I use it for the thumbnails on my 500 plus videos and my previous channels, which is now closed. And I also make icons with it and convert images. Yeah, I can do a lot of things with this. So this is 21036. So let me turn off the highlighting tool. And let me go back to standard mode and flip this over to the flat pack side. Also different screenshots, as you notice. If you see arrows on the sides, that means there's more than one screenshot. And a lot of these screenshots may be in different languages sometimes. And sometimes when you install, you'll have a pop-up on your panel that says you need additional language packs. Keep in mind, Linux Mint is used all over planet Earth, and everything is not always in English. English is my second language also. But let me show you some differences in here. So again, this comes from FlatHub. I already showed you the website. If you skipped over this video and you're on speed read, go slow it down and back up the video. All right, so this is coming from FlatHub. And this is 884 megabyte download, 2.9 gigabytes roughly, or 3 on your disk is required. What is Flatpak software anyways? Flatpak software is self-contained. It generally doesn't need too many things from your system. That is when I showed that website of all the different distributions that use that. But it generally is a larger footprint on your disk. This also has another feature here. This is a newer version than 2.10, as in the system package. But you may not need all those bells and whistles. You have reviews, optional components sometimes, and of course general description, and then you have possibly home pages and documentations as links you can click with your mouse. Okay, so I will turn off all the tools and just click in here on the screen. So this is 3.0.2 and this is 210.36. Different screenshots even. You can see that screenshot is in a foreign language. Again, don't focus in on that stuff. Install the software, and generally you'll have maybe offered some language packs that you can do. Because I can tell you my menu is not in a foreign language. I'll even open it. It's installed. You can see that's not in a foreign language. Well, it's in English, in other words. Yeah, I shouldn't say that foreign language thing. It's in a different language. How's that? So in either case, the arrow indicates I have two choices. System package or FlatHub. All right, moving along. And you can also see that I have lots of different optional tools in here too. So let me turn the highlighter on briefly. So this one here is installed. This is the English. And this is the general app. I mean the general program itself. But you can see all these other ones are not installed. So they have additional textures and different help files in Greek, Czech, Dutch, Italian, just to name a few. Okay, and then there's also some different plugins just for GIMP. Shift F9, close. So if we're looking for games, a lot of people are, highlighting tool time again. We have the all listed by default, but we can also click the subcategories down here. So looking at this screen, what's installed is this one. And do I have another? There's no, oh yeah, there's one at the bottom here. It says Pingus on it. That's also installed. But the rest of these are not. So I can also do that visually. So I'm going to turn off the highlighting tool and I'm going to click this box here where it says first person shooter. So there's a game that I'm about to show you that is listed as Flatpak software unverified. That's not listed in here. And it won't be even if I turn the tool on. You'll have to do a keyword search for it. So obviously these are point and click and none of these are installed. They don't have any green check marks. But I can install them. Now, that one's a system package, for instance, and you get the idea. Now, what I'm going to do is do a keyword search for this weird game name. I think I spelled it right. Exonotic. I have this installed on a different Linux machine that has a 12 gigabyte video card, and it's been a while since I played it, but it can be a fun play because I play it in 4K mode on my big screen, but haven't had the pleasure lately to do that since I've been taking care of family. Anyway, show unverified Flatpak not recommending. I'm turning the switch on. All right, I'm going to go back to the games category to the first person shooter. It's still not here. So if I do a paste, there's nothing found in this category, but if I do the main screen, it finds something. Now I'm going to open it up and turn on my highlighting tool in a second. And these are awful screenshots in my book. It doesn't do the game justice. In other words, what I mean by that term is the graphics are a lot better, at least on my graphics card, my 12 gig graphics card. These are really sharp and very colorful. Let me turn on the highlighting tool and show you the first thing. Unverified. It doesn't mean it's terrible software or evil. It just means it's not been verified. This requires a lot of disk space, by the way, if you're concerned with that. 1.2 gigabytes. And again, where is it coming from? From FlatHub. Okay, FlatHub. So this is Flatpak software. Again, I could install that in here, but I'm not. Unverified. All right, turning off the highlighting stuff and going back to standard mode. I'm going to turn that back off and then do another search for that same game because it's in the buffer. Nothing found. So sometimes you need to do keyword searches for things. And remember, even with that on, I couldn't find it through first person shooter. Okay, now that we understand some things cannot be point and clicky, we need to use searches. Point and click. All right, in either case, pick your category, go look through the stuff. Just remember, if you see a check mark, that means it's installed, and we can go through these things rather easily. I think anyone can do this. And again, a recap, Software Manager contains software also from FlatHub, and Synaptic Package Manager does not contain Flatpak software. And one more thing to understand, as I pointed out, this video can be used for different desktops. LMDE6 contains software from Debian. So your numbers will be different in Synaptic if you have that installed. Thank you for watching.